Hello,
Good morning. I'm Jen,
I'm Kimberly, and
and
this
this
is
is
That
That
Vegan Morning
Vegan
Show.
Morning Show.
Good
We're
morning,
back.
Jen. We are. How's it going? How was
It's
your
going
weekend?
good. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. So we got to spend Saturday together, technically, um, online with our final class of Main Street Vegan Academy, which was so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday, I spent the day reading in preparation for a podcast recording, which will come out early next year for season 7 of Did You Bring the Hummus? But it was really cool to do that and to be so prepared. But that was my whole weekend. How was yours?
Well, the first half of my weekend was the same as yours. Mainstream Vegan Academy. Whew, my brain is still catching up from just being so busy. But yeah, my experience with Main Street Vegan Academy was amazing, and I'm so glad I got to do this with you. I have so many inspired ideas of what to do for the confident vegan, as well as what we can do together here with That Vegan Morning Show. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm also just very tired and recovering from all the reading and coursework, but go us for getting it all done.
Yes.
And yeah, it was just really, really great. And then yesterday, my husband and I originally were going to go to the city, and then um, plans changed, and then we thought about still going to the city, but we saw it was going to be raining, so we just went to the American Dream Mall in New Jersey. That is our like fallback if there's like crappy weather and
Mhm.
we want to like just get out somewhere. But being that it was a Sunday, and we looked it up, that we saw that there are stores open, so we're like, okay, the stores are open, but apparently not all the stores are open because of the blue laws in New
Yeah.
Jersey. So it's like a handful of, plus it's right next to MetLife Stadium where the Jets and Giants play, and there was a game about to happen, so like
Mhm.
by 3 o'clock we were out because it was getting crazy.
I bet, yeah. My understanding is the Jets are not doing so well, kinda like the Giants are also not doing so well, so I'm sure people were leaving that game mad. Um,
I'm sure, probably. Yeah, like the game was starting at 4 and it was already like a lot of people in the mall were like leaving at the same time to like beat, plus the parking rate goes up too from like
mm,
$5 for the mall to $100 for and
whoa.
so unless you get your parking ticket like validated with like a receipt, which we did eat there. You're otherwise going to pay $100. So, or you can just leave before 4 o'clock. And everyone was like leaving before 4 o'clock. So. And then we had to get home in time for the 49ers game, which I don't remember if they won. I think I was busy when my husband, I forgot to ask him if they won.
We
They,
won't
they,
tell him.
they weren't doing well for a part of it. And
Ah.
he was upset. So I don't know. You know what? I can't believe I didn't ask him. Anyway, I hope they won.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Oh, and so here we are, another week, and we're almost to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is
Do
a
you have
slightly
plans?
awkward time for vegans.
It sure is. Yeah. What are you guys doing? Do you have plans yet?
So we usually just have it just us low key at home. It's just me, my husband, and my son comes to visit. Usually my husband's kids are with their mom. They're in Arizona. She's in Arizona. Um, but one of my stepsons, he might be with us because he was supposed to go to Arizona, but with the whole flight situation, we don't know how that's going to be.
Yeah.
So he might be coming from college to hang with us for Thanksgiving.
Nice.
But I just make a bunch of vegan things. And since I've been vegan, I've always made all of the sides and I would make a vegan main. In my early days as a vegan, when I still would make non-vegan food for my family, I would make like a turkey or chicken or something for them. But then everything else was easily veganized. But then since I stopped making animal products for my family, I let them know if they want it, they are welcome to make it. I won't be cooking it for them. If they'll have my lovely lentil loaf, and I usually make like tofu, like marinated in like a good sauce and like some other little things. They're welcome to have all those things, but if you want the meat and other stuff, you have to make it. I'm not touching it. So that's my rule in my house. What about you? What are your plans?
So my plans are I'm just putting my phone on do not disturb. My parents are coming and
Nice.
we are going to have a vegan Thanksgiving. So it will just be me, JP, and my parents. But and they don't like driving when it's dark anymore, so they're coming early. So we're actually going to have like a Thanksgiving brunch.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
yeah, so I haven't really decided what that will look like. My mom has offered to bring stuffing, so I know that there will be stuffing. But I'm gonna look at some different like brunch ideas and see what I can kind of make kind of Thanksgiving themed or what can fit in there. Maybe a tofu scramble with like certain seasonings to make it a little more fall like, and something with like maybe an acorn squash or something. So I don't really
Mm.
have the menu planned out just yet, but I'm very excited to be having a vegan Thanksgiving. And this is the first Thanksgiving in this house. So it's nice to have people come and be festive here. And then we'll probably do Christmas at my parents. So we have that nice balance. Like before we started recording, we were talking about balancing family and visiting and all that stuff during the holidays. And so like we'll see JP's family too, but like we also kind of try to balance it out between, so we're not all driving to the same place all the time. And now there's more distance between some of us. So yeah, that's my plan. I'll be sure to share, the menu once it's put together in case anyone needs that. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm not always excited for the holidays, especially Thanksgiving, right? Because so often when we're dining with family who are not vegan,
Mm-hmm.
the tradition here in the US is that the body of the turkey is also the centerpiece of the table. And I really struggle with that, as I'm sure lots of vegans do. And it's been hard. And there have been times over the years where I have refused to sit at a table where there was the body of the turkey as the centerpiece. And there have been times where I have tried really hard not to look at it and just kind of, which then of course makes me seem closed off. And, then people are like, what's wrong with you? And sometimes it can lead to people being upset by things. But like there are ways around that. And like I'd love to hear your thoughts, Jen, on like how have you handled those situations, or what suggestions would you have for viewers should they find themselves in a situation like that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I can't wait to see what you make for brunch. As soon as you said that, I thought, ooh, maybe like a nice French toast with like cinnamon on it or something.
Ooh.
Anyway, I just wanted to say French toast.
Yeah.
I think I want French toast now. Uh, but getting back, yeah, it's really hard. And I know it's interesting. We've talked a lot about cognitive dissonance, and now I'm 8.5 years into being a committed vegan. And I have realized that even as a vegan, I've still had layers of cognitive dissonance.
Hmm.
In the beginning, it was easier for like I could still make non-vegan food. Like there was a part of me that was able to detach enough to make it for my family. But then as I've gotten deeper into my vegan journey, it's been harder to do that. So then I had to set a boundary with my family. I had that conversation with my husband a couple of years ago. And so from my experience, and I'm wondering if any viewers have also experienced this on their vegan journey, is I've been setting more boundaries as I go along, as I've deepened it. And my tolerance for things has gotten challenged, where I could still sit at a table with meat and still detach from it enough because I'm not eating it, I'm not partaking in it. But now I'm finding it even harder. Like if I walk in the grocery store, like the meat aisle, it just is a giant graveyard to me, right?
Mhm.
And so I just wanted to like throw that out there, just because as others are on their vegan journey, you might notice that, hey, I was able to tolerate something more 1 year, and now another year I may not. And I just wanted to throw that out there, that it's okay to refine your engagement with non-veganness, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to make those changes. So if somebody's like, well, it wasn't a problem before, right? If something like
Mhm.
that were to come up, well, and not that that has specifically come up for me, but it's something that just came to me as I was like reflecting on my journey as a vegan. It could happen, right? It's okay to, like with my family, right? I used to cook meat for them and fish, and then I stopped, right? And I had to explain that I just can't do this anymore. And feelings change, our identities change.
Yeah.
And so if there's something that is not comfortable for you, it's so important to communicate these things respectfully,
Mhm.
not shaming people for their choices. Um, but also, you know, standing up for yours, because yours
Yeah.
are valid too. And so it's, how can you come together? And so I think my first tip is, if you're eating Thanksgiving at someone else's home, communication is important. Check in with yourself. What are you willing to accept? What aren't you willing to accept? Maybe journal about that. I'm a big journaler. It helps me sort out all the mental clutter I have in my head, and there's a lot of mental clutter in there. So I need some kind of like outlet to kind of unpack all my nonsense and kind of like sift through it, so that I don't approach something from a reactive place. I want
Yeah.
to come at it from a tactful place, but also give my emotions a safe space to kind of like let them fly off the handle. So doing that in a journal is a safe way to do that. And then it clears that energy, right?
Yeah.
It clears that energy from your subconscious. So then you're able to consciously be more constructive with communication. So for me, it's all about communication. And then also, I always offer to bring a main dish and a dessert.
Mhm.
This way, I always have a main and a
Yep.
dessert.
Yep.
And I always make enough to share. And I have found that it's always a great opportunity when you're a vegan in a non-vegan holiday setting to show people the possibilities of vegan food, because
Yeah.
everyone's always like, oh, wow, this is vegan, right? A lot of people
Yep.
don't realize what that means. And so they have this opportunity to kind of, reduce some of those barriers on what they think about vegan food. Um, so yeah, those are some of the things that have come up. For my answer to that. What about you, Kimberly?
Well, before I answered that, I wanted to go back to something you said earlier, because I think it will also kind of can bring some help to people who are watching and need it. When you talked about the ability to detach and still cook food for your family that you were not eating anymore. And I wanted to ask you, because I'm thinking that there are a lot of people that do that, even if like inside they haven't realized, like, I really don't want to do this, and they are detaching because they're protecting themselves from it. Is like, does it, do you think that some of that comes from people thinking, well, my family won't care about me anymore, or my family will be angry with me if I'm not cooking for them? Or is it more of like, oh my gosh, the thought just went right out of my head. Or is it like a people pleasing thing where you like, it's not, it's just kind of like, I do this because I've always done it and people expect it, so I can't say that I'm not going to do it anymore. What are your thoughts around that? Or how can people navigate that since you did it yourself?
That's a great question. And as you were saying that, yeah, I think it was probably tied to an element of people pleasing, and also because I mean, my husband can cook on a basic level. So if people want the more fancier things, not that I cook anything fancy, I would make that. And so I think there was definitely a part of me that felt guilty. And also because I was being different from them, I didn't want to create hardship for them.
Mhm.
So, what I needed to do for myself to make that transition into being different from everybody, like that was still that thing that I held on to. And I talk about people pleasing a lot on my platform, The Confident Vegan. And there's a lot of stages of shedding that old identity because you're just so conditioned. And like I had thought I had healed a lot of my people pleasing ways until I realized that I wanted to be vegan for a couple of years and didn't do it. Why? Because I cared about what people thought of me. Right?
Ah.
So like that next like level up from doing that next challenge for myself with still not overpowering my nervous system, freaking out with doing something different, like that was that next step into that. So thank you for asking that because I never really thought about it so deeply. But yeah, that was like that next level of what I needed to do for myself to be able to be vegan and make that
Mhm.
initial crossover into it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Because I do think that there are, I was in a position where I didn't have to worry about that. I wasn't cooking for anyone. And so as relationships started, I let them know that I don't do that. And so the
Mhm.
expectation was always there. So I think it was really helpful for people to be able to hear that you can have those feelings and have those thoughts, and you can very kindly and gently navigate your way to actually doing what is best for you and your heart while not abandoning your family.
Absolutely, which is a big part of what I do on The Confident Vegan is if you want to be vegan but your family doesn't, that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your values to, just because your family doesn't see things the same way as you. Be the example,
Mhm.
and one other thing I'll add to that is we have very little non-vegan food in our house. My husband has a couple of things that he makes for himself that are not vegan, but the majority of it is vegan stuff because I make it. And
Mhm.
he also likes veggie burgers. He's
Okay.
he's been making veggie burgers for a long time, and like that has been a big part of his rotation of things he makes himself is veggie
Nice.
burgers. And we have almond milk and soy milk usually in our house. Everybody feels better not using milk.
Mhm.
So like I always talk about progress over perfection. Even though we're not 100% vegan home, we've reduced a lot of animal stuff because of me. And
Mhm.
so you can be that change, right? You
Yeah.
can you can and people like my husband thinks differently about food. For him it's more about the health. And, that's where a lot of people connect with it. For me, it started that way too. And then as I went further down that health journey, um, then I was like, you start learning about the shitty things that happen in animal agriculture, and then you're horrified.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I feel like I've been talking a lot. So
It's all good. So for Thanksgiving, I was poking around the internet a little bit, and I found a
Mhm.
video by CPG, Colleen Patrick Goudreau, the Joyful Vegan,
Mm.
and she talked about kind of how to handle it, being in a non-vegan Thanksgiving setting, and she was like, this does apply to other holidays, but she was focusing in this video on Thanksgiving. And one thing that she pointed out that I had never talked about before, and probably because I didn't really have such an experience, was like with parents or people who were guardians to you, or someone you spent a lot of time with as a child who spent a lot of time feeding you. Because like sometimes when we go vegan and we show up at a holiday and we tell our parents, because maybe they're the ones hosting, hey, I don't eat this anymore. And they not only maybe don't understand it because maybe you're now the only vegan they know, and sometimes they can feel rejected as if
Mm.
you're rejecting them. And she pointed out that it comes from that, most parents or those in that guardian role, from the time that you're born, one of the ways they nurture you is by feeding you. And it becomes a connection. And I mean, all of us have food memories from childhood, right?
Yeah.
And we can it's a way to come together and to show each other we love one another by sharing food and preparing food. So sometimes people in those roles in our lives can feel really hurt, because to them it's not just a rejection of the animal cruelty that we're now aware of, it's a rejection of everything they've ever fed you, every time they tried to care for you with food, how they're trying to care for their family at that holiday. And she said it's really important to just let them have their feelings, let them process it.
Mm.
The way we were able to take in what we took in to learn and decide to go vegan, we had to process all of that. And so when we approach a family member who has that connection with us and we say, we're not doing this anymore, we have to allow them the time to process that. And so I would say, if you anticipate, if this is your very first time doing a holiday as a vegan, if you anticipate that level of reaction from your parents or guardian because they're hosting, maybe try to talk to them beforehand and give them that time ahead of time to process. And then, like you had said, and CPG said it too, then offer to bring something, that knowing that, because part of it too is now they might be like, what do I feed you? I don't know what
Mhm.
vegan means. Or, can you still eat the mashed potatoes? And you can say, well, I can bring you, soy milk and vegan butter. And then, yes, I can have the mashed potatoes. But to offer to either bring like a main dish and dessert, or to help them come early and cook with them to show them what to do, find ways to engage them if that's what they're interested in. Some people, they're like, it's my kitchen, get out. I'm doing all the things, don't get in my way. And some of those people might be willing, yes, just give me the ingredients or give me a recipe and I'll do it, it'll be fine. Or they're
Mhm.
like, yes, you bring something, because I don't have the space or mental capacity to take that on while creating this giant meal for the rest of the family. But I had never thought about that before, the way that those people in our lives nourish us with food, and then we show up and we're like, they can feel rejected by it. So just wanted to share that, for people to consider, and try in those moments to remember for you not to react. So if you get there early and there is like a big emotion happening, like maybe you bring your journal in your car and you tell your family like, hey, I'll be right back, I'm just going to go get something from my car, I'm just going to go make a quick phone call, and then spend a few minutes like writing out, I cannot believe they reacted this way, or whatever is coming up, giant letters in the journal, just push all of that out so that you can have you can be a little more open for the rest of the day. And she said you have options, you can offer to host. So the people in your life are like, I'm not making vegan food, too bad. Then you say, okay, then come to my house and then we'll all have vegan food. And maybe people will be up for that. Maybe you have family who are curious and open and love food no matter what it is, and they're going to come. Maybe not. Maybe you do bring dishes like you'd suggested. Maybe you just request that they leave the body of the turkey in the kitchen. If you guys are eating in the dining room, it's separate from the kitchen. Maybe they can all go get that part of their meal from the kitchen, and then all the sides can be out on the table. That feels like a concession that should be okay for most people. I know there are some families make a big show of the carving of this body of the turkey, but maybe now that people in who they care about, who they love, have different feelings about that show, maybe they are willing to kind of adjust how they do that. So those were just some thoughts I got just from like an 11-minute video from CPG. She's amazing. So if you guys don't know Colleen Patrick Goudreau, you definitely want to check her out. I'll put the link in the notes so that people can watch that video. And then just one more thing about conversations with our family, because everybody has that one family member that's like, why aren't you eating this? Or what is that on your plate? Or what's wrong with you? And sometimes we want to go hard and we're going to be like, you want to know what's wrong with me? Here. And you just list it off. And because maybe they're a person that gives you shit about all kinds of things and you just don't have it in you to try to be kind about it, that's your choice. But you also can approach it like, hey, this is just a choice I made, I'm happy with it, and leave it alone. Or find like a middle ground. What do you want to know? Like, don't come at me saying, what are you doing? Ask me, what are your actual questions? What are you wondering about what it is I'm eating or what it is I'm doing? And then you can kind of gauge if they're open to an actual conversation or if they were just, as we say in New Jersey, busting your balls. And and if it's that second one, you probably want to shut down the conversation, because you want the holidays to be kind. Families fight about all kinds of things. Like, you don't need to add another thing and have you be the center of the fight on Thanksgiving.
I love everything you just shared. And I really think what you shared is very great about understanding how parents feel, right? And that makes a lot of sense. And it puts a lot of things in perspective. And, parents have feelings too, right?
Yeah. Easy to forget that, right?
Right. And I know I've jokingly said to my son before too, like, I'm also a human being, right? My son and I use a lot of sarcasm with each other. But yeah, like sometimes I'm like, I am a human being, right?
Yeah.
and so, yeah, I think it's easy to forget that. And right, everyone's got feelings and perceptions on that. And a lot of people don't understand what it took for you internally to get to that place as being a vegan.
Yeah.
As vegans, we can look back and be like, oh, I totally understand my whole emotional journey, but no one else can understand that. And so, and with all the media misconceptions floating around out there on veganism, a lot of people use that to support whatever narrative that they have formed about veganism. So I really think that was great about what you shared about thinking about your parents' perspectives. Also, the journaling, there's been times I have gone into the bathroom and brought my phone, and I'll send myself an email. I'll just open up an email and I'll go, if you don't have a journal, you can just, I have gone off at
That's
emails and just sent it to myself.
great
Make sure you're
idea.
sending it to yourself and not
Yes.
somebody else. And I have done that too. So I have emailed myself journal rants. I just wanted to.
That's a great idea. Yeah, because then maybe they think you got a bum tum and you're just in the bathroom for longer than
Exactly.
usual. But whatever.
Exactly. Or you can say, I'm going on the phone and go into a bedroom or something, shut the door. People don't know what you're doing unless they're like listening outside the door trying to hear what you're talking about, right?
Right. And they hear you're journaling on your phone. They hear you just banging your finger into the phone screen.
Right? Exactly. So yeah, cell phone email journaling is probably
that's a great idea. You can do it anywhere.
You can do it anywhere and nobody's gonna know.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to say, but now I can't remember it. But I really think that that's great. And I think that'll be a great link to put in the notes below the replay, because I think, yeah, it's so important. And now I remember the other thing. I love what you said about having the turkey carcass, because that's what it is.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll say things about carcasses, and my husband will be like, "That's not a carcass." I'm like, "Yes, it is."
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sadly, it is.
If you don't want me to refer to your food as a carcass, then maybe you shouldn't eat the carcass. But anyway, we have a lot of playful banter. It's all good. But yeah, the turkey in the other room, I feel like that's a great meeting point, right? Like, yes, you have to still see the slices of it, but at least you don't have this huge body of it. And I feel like and when you're coming to someone's home and you're telling them they can't have turkey, that feels like a violation to them, right? On their space and what they want. So asking, hey, would it, having this on the table really bothers me. Would it be possible to keep this in the kitchen? I feel like that's or have at least sliced up and put on a platter on the table is much more tolerable. I mean, you still know what it is, but it's still better than seeing the body of it, right? Because we know what that is.
Right. And I try to, if they do have the flesh, sliced up and on a plate at the table, I try to not sit near it, because I found that not only seeing it is upsetting to me, but the smell of it turns my stomach, and it makes me really upset to be that close.
Yeah.
So if if where you're going, your family assigns seats, ask them to move the turkey slices, or if you can choose where you sit, wait until the food has been put on the table and then determine where you'd like to sit, or, ask someone to switch if you can, so that you don't have to sit there. And while you're trying to enjoy your vegan food and enjoy the company of people that you love, you're not feeling upset or, losing your appetite because you're sitting by the plate of that turkey. Yeah.
I love all of that. And I just want to add one other thing. If you have family, anyone who can't be supportive and kind to things that are important to you, then that says a lot about that person and that relationship.
Yeah.
And I get it's harder with family than maybe with like friends.
Right.
But if people can't respect you, like if you're being respectful of them and you're saying, hey, this is what would be helpful to be respectful for me. If people can't respect that, it's also okay. And I've had this conversation with friends, not over veganism, just because of, toxic family situations. It's okay to also have a Thanksgiving by yourself. Like,
yes, that was another point I forgot to make. CPG says,
awesome.
Don't go. You don't have to go. I mean, there might be implications about that, but you don't have to go.
You don't have to go. I have a friend who she's not vegan, but has had her own holiday celebrations with herself and her dog and watching all her favorite movies and eating her favorite foods. And that's okay too. Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
feel shame because you want to protect your peace,
Right.
right? There's nothing wrong with that. If you
Mhm.
need to spend time with yourself, or maybe you have a friend who you'd rather have a Thanksgiving celebration with, a Friendsgiving with. So a lot of
Mhm.
people, oh, I got to plug in my computer. Um, so I'm talking as I'm just plugging in my computer so it doesn't die. Yeah, like a lot of people do the Friendsgiving thing, and you can do that even, usually they do that before Thanksgiving. You can do it during Thanksgiving. You can do whatever you want. We can
Mhm.
rewrite the rules. We don't have to, live by the standards that society has set for us, right? Like,
Right.
we can choose
Yeah.
differently. So it's okay to be different. And also, I just want to add too, it's okay to, give people the chance to be supportive of you. I'm
Yes.
lucky in that I have two sister-in-laws, my brother's wife and my husband's sister, who've been very supportive whenever I've gone to their home for vegan food. I've never starved. There's always tons of food. And so I really appreciate that. And so it's nice, and they're happy to be supportive. And so give people a chance to be
Mhm.
supportive of you.
Yes.
Sometimes we can build things up to be worse than they need to
Yeah.
be. And sometimes, yeah, you do have the combative person. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to add. Like, I have had the occasional combative person, as we all have as vegans.
Mhm.
And once I realize they're just being combative, my go-to thing is, I'm not telling you how to live your life. This is how I'm living mine, and I don't want to talk about this anymore. And that's how I shut it down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then I go in the bathroom and I send myself an email.
I love that because you're right. Like, give people a chance to be supportive. Is you had me thinking about, my family. My parents from the beginning were like, okay. I mean, they didn't think it was going to stick because, as I've talked about so many times, I didn't eat vegetables and I didn't know how to cook. So they were like, all right, we'll see where this goes. But it has stuck. I went vegetarian 24 plus years ago. So, but they were always kind of like, okay. And they just, they'd make comments sometimes here and there, but never like so unkindly or anything. And they've always been accommodating, making sure that there was food for me. And that's been really nice. And then, with JP's family, I mean, my two sisters-in-law, they always make sure that there's food because they're always in charge of, the food for the holidays. There's always something. And they're not just like a main, they also always have dessert. And sometimes, like, my niece one year made a vegan dessert.
Oh,
And
how
so,
nice.
yeah, and she loves to bake and she gave it a try and it came out really, really good.
Nice.
And it was just so nice that these people who, they love me because I'm part of their family now, and they're just willing to be supportive and to make sure that I can enjoy myself with them, with, and being able to eat what I want to eat. And it's really nice. Yeah, just give them the space.
I love all of that. Yeah, and you know what? As you were sharing about your niece and your family, I was also thinking, right? It's another way to teach people about veganism without being in their face about it, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
There, who knows how that seed gets planted where your niece baked something that was vegan, sees that it's not so difficult, right? Or you never
Mhm.
know how it plants seeds for people,
Yeah.
but it helps break down those barriers,
Mhm.
and just helps allowing people to be inclusive and supportive. And I find there really are a lot of people out there who are.
Mhm.
But yeah, a lot of people don't realize what veganism is, and they just hear this term. And I was in a situation last week where I said, well, veganism is just delicious food without animal products. Right? Essentially, that's what it is, right? So, like, now that's like my go-to way of explaining it to people. Like, in a very simple definition to help
Mhm.
break down whatever cognitive dissonance people have with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. I can't
Yeah.
believe what time it is already.
I know. This was a great conversation. I hope that people get a lot out of it. And, if you have questions or comments, you want to share your stories, please put them in the comments section. Jen and I will get back to you. We'd love to hear what you
Absolutely.
have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kimberly, before we wrap up, do you have anything going on this week?
I do. I've got two things. New episode, Did You Bring the Hummus, out today with Prit Patel. We're
Ooh,
talking about how matter matters. So you got to tune in to find out what he means by that. And then on
awesome.
Thursday, yeah, on Thursday, I am doing a fundraising meditation for Blue Barn Sanctuary out in Oregon. And you can find the link, like I'll put it on my Instagram later today, but you can sign up. All the donations go directly to Blue Barn, and I'm volunteering my time and doing a meditation, a loving kindness meditation, really focusing on the animals. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's Thursday at 8:30 Eastern PM, 8:30
Awesome.
PM Eastern.
That's
Yeah.
great. Is there a link we could put in the notes for that
Oh,
as
yes. That's a
well?
good idea. Yes, we can do that. Thank you for that reminder. What
Oh,
about you, Jen? What do you have going
yeah.
on?
Well, first of all, that all sounds wonderful. I've interviewed Prit a couple times. He's so amazing to chat with.
Yeah.
And that sounds amazing what you're doing also for Blue Barn. So I hope you get a
Thank
lot of support for that.
thank you. Me too.
Yeah. So what do I have going on? Well, actually, this ties in nicely with this conversation. On Wednesday, I am posting my interview with Safriana Luna, who is a licensed trauma therapist. And we have our huge conversation about boundaries
Mm,
and just living life differently from other people. And we talk about setting boundaries during the holidays. And we also have this really, she's considers herself 95% vegan. So we have a really interesting, thoughtful conversation about that. I
mm,
thought it would be important to have a conversation like that for people who are like on their journey, like consider, working towards being a vegan, being an aspiring vegan. So yeah, it was a really great conversation. I feel like it ties in nicely with our conversation. So yeah, I'll be
yeah, for
posting that
sure.
on my YouTube channel on Wednesday.
Awesome. I look forward to checking that out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we should wrap up and get ready for our day jobs.
Yes, we should.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.